All right, this is your March 26, 2020 COVID-19 daily update brief. Current as of 13/26 local. Bear with me. We have a lot of stuff that we got to get through today. I added a couple more tabs. I'm trying to follow along, make some analysis for the future so we can kind of expect what's going on. So I'm going to try to gather my thoughts as we go over this. So today we're looking at the 26th. Growth in the last 24 hours for most countries is again that 15 to 20%. Uh, United States did go down from I think they were at 18, 20% yesterday. But yeah, everyone's still about the same. Good thing on Italy, they're continuing to go down as well. They were at, I believe, 8% yesterday as well, so they're staying where they're at. They're not really increasing at this time. As I mentioned in yesterday's brief, their curve is starting to kind of level out as we saw with China right around the same time. Total cases right now are 510,108. So my key assumption on the 23rd was that we would double from 335 to 670,000 by March 28th. We might not quite make that number, which is a good thing. All these key assumptions are based off worst case scenarios, right? If things continue to double. So if we don't get to 670,000, great. That means that the quarantines and the lockdowns and whatnot are actually working at this time. So again, we'll track the confirmed cases. Move on to country deaths. So a lot going on this slide now. Unfortunately, United States went from 38% to 33%, so they're still kind of at that doubling every 2.5 to 3 day mark, not quite bringing it lower as we'd like to see. Germany still at 28%, France and Spain at 20%, United Kingdom at 10. They had a slight spike, not much, and then Italy is at 9%. I believe Italy yesterday was at anywhere from 8 to 10, so they're still kind of leveling out. Again, that's what we want to see Italy do. We don't want them to continue to go from like 10 or 15, every other day. We want to kind of keep them where they're at and then slowly bring that number down as the days go on. So some key assumptions that I have here. The US case fatality rate equals 7.7% right now. So the way I did that was the deaths as of today, which is 1,100, basically 1,070. I rounded up, so the case fatality rate is going to be, I guess, maybe slightly lower. You divide that by how many cases there were 10 days ago, which I believe was the 19th. United States had 13,677 cases. So again, the CFR is going to be quite a bit higher, right? We can make the assumption that that's not 100% accurate because at the time there's probably a lot more confirmed cases, right? Back on the 19th here, there's probably double that amount, right? But we don't know those numbers. So as of right now, the case fatality rate is at 7.7. So we'll see what happens in the next 24 hours as far as the deaths go. We'll compare that to what happened back the case fatality or the confirmed cases, excuse me, back on March 20th. And we'll see this case fatality rate start to drop, right? And as that starts to drop over the next week or two, we'll get a more accurate percentage of how many people are actually dying who are contracting COVID here in the United States. So we'll keep an eye on that. My key assumption back on the 23rd did come true uh, for the 26th today, so I did update this. So my analysis right now is saying that we're going to double from 1,100 deaths today to 2,800 by the 31st. Again, I'm giving us the best case scenario instead of every 3 days. Going out to 4 to 5 days. We'll see what happens. I have faith that with these lockdowns in place, we're going to start seeing ours go from 3 days, kind of trickling down to maybe 4 or 5 over this next week. Uh, but I don't think that's 100% likely, but best case scenario, we'll see that. Italy, I said that on the 23rd they were going to double from 5,400 to 10,000. The good news is, right, like I was just saying, Italy has kind of started to level out, so they weren't quite doubling at a rate that we expected them to. And as they continue to double out, uh, or level out rather, they're not going to double as quickly as they were in the past. So they're currently at 8,165 as of today, and they had 662 deaths overnight. So they're staying right around that 600 to 700 deaths. So we can assess it tomorrow. They're probably going to be at maybe closer to 9,000, if not in the high 8,000s. Uh, so again, great news, right? Because they didn't double in the time that we assessed that they would as a worst case scenario. Right now, Spain is continuing to double every 3 days. Same with the United States, 2.5 to 3 days. France is right around that 3 to 4 day mark. Italy is starting to double every 5 days, which is good. And again, we're going to monitor this, and hopefully this will start to level out just like China did. We'll start seeing these deaths go down exponentially. So as far as the states go, we're also tracking this. New York is obviously going to be huge, but I thought this was going to be interesting to start tracking it like this over the next couple of weeks, so we can kind of see the growth and see if the states are all aligned and growing at the same time. But again, huge numbers. Yesterday, everybody was at 20%. Today, everybody is anywhere from 20 to 35%. Maine's coming in at 9, and New York's coming in at 7. So kudos on them. And again, this number is probably going down for New York because they're probably testing as many people as they are, and they've got a large majority of those people already tested, and those came back confirmed, right? So now we'll probably start to see these trickle down or kind of level out, hopefully, in New York. That's the plan, at least. So total deaths globally, started tracking this too. We're just at over. I didn't update this. We're at 22,000. Let's see, 22,993. So we'll update that as well right here. Increase that. So yeah, we're gonna see a spike, right? That's gonna continue to spike over these next few weeks as countries continue to get hit, and we try to get this thing under control. So expect this to kind of continue to go up before it starts to level out some more. Here's some scary math that I did. Pulled this information. So right now, I think it's very important. We also have to look at the active cases that are going on, which is mild condition, and then as well as the serious or critical, and this is again globally, compared to those who have recovered, and the deaths. So if we take the USA, today currently, we have 68,211 cases, right? 13,355 of those are new. Sorry, I have these backwards. We'll switch these. This was yesterday's number. I was going to say that didn't look 100% accurate. All right, so today we have 75,665 cases here in the US, right? Compared to yesterday, 68,000. So we're seeing a half the amount of new cases, which is good between yesterday and today. However, what's concerning is the people that are in serious critical care, right? Because we already have quite a few deaths in the United States, and the critical care jumped up quite a bit. So we are today at 2,100 basically, compared to yesterday where we had 1,452 people in critical care. So it's important to start watching these because this is where we can start making the analysis as far as confirmed cases and who's in serious critical care, and kind of make that analysis of the potential deaths that are going to happen over the next week. So as I said before, that critical factor, the critical fatality rate, excuse me, is at 7.7%. So what we can expect within the next week is we'll jump from 1,049 deaths to 5,826 deaths here in the United States. Best case scenario, we go on some kind of crazy lockdown, right? Or the lockdowns that we already have in place work, and we're able to half that number, would be looking at 2,913 deaths in the United States within a week, so 2,913. So expect anywhere between 2,913 and 5,800 worst case scenario within a week. You go 14 days out from here and you continue on a worst case scenario track, we're looking at 26,508 deaths by the 9th or 10th of April. Again, you half that number and say that we did some great lockdowns at some point within 10 days or whatnot, and we're able to reduce that quite a bit. We're looking at 13,254 deaths by the 10th of April. Again, so some scary numbers. However, I have faith, right? We're going to start doing the right thing and get this lockdown in place in most of these major cities, right? People are going to continue their social distancing, and we won't see those worst case scenarios. But yeah, what I wanted to highlight here too is New York has gotten so bad at this point over the next few weeks. They've ordered 44 refrigerated trucks and refrigerated tents, as we see here in the images. And what that basically means is their morgues and the hospitals and the crematoriums are getting so full that they can't hold all the bodies, that they're now piling the bodies into these trucks and tents. They assess that the trucks are able to hold about 44 bodies at a time. Uh, Quick math, I believe what I read was about 3,400 bodies would be able to be stored inside these trucks and tents in total, on top of what's already going to be in the morgues and the crematoriums and whatnot. So we'll track those two. We'll see which trucks are coming in and out, if there's any kind of intel on that later in the week. But yeah, that's your daily COVID-19 update.